Welcome to Haaseline Entertainment, Revelation of the Spirit, and our first offering here in March. New format to the show. We're going to talk about all kinds of different subjects. Um, be interested in what you're thinking. It's we got a lot of stuff going on politically. We just had the Oscars last night, which I must say was fun to watch. Just because they laid off of some of the political opinions. It was just an enjoyable show of people in the entertainment field. And as you know, Houseline Entertainment is involved with entertainment marketing and tying into intellectual properties and bringing them alive at retail, on package, or in the marketplace. But today I wanted to talk about a kind of setup for the next couple of uh, shows that we're going to do. Talk about capitalism. Now, as we know, in the United States, that's our brand. That's how we are who we are, is through a robust capitalism state in the marketplace globally. Um, and we have, America, United States of America is a brand. It, for all intent purposes, is the biggest brand that we have in the marketplace. Sometimes people don't think of these countries as a brand, but I can tell you who does, um, and that's our current president of the United States. And I'm not here to debate whether you like him or love him because I think it's pretty. He is the most polarized person, I believe, in the world. You either love him or hate him. But if you love capitalism, and I'm a little concerned that, in this country that we have lost our zest for what capitalism is and how it allowed us to get to where we are the biggest producer of everything, and pretty much regardless of the $35 trillion in debt, the globe depends on us being successful and on the dollars that we spend. So, what is that all about? How does that work into entertainment marketing? Well, I mean, right now in the marketplace, one of the most interesting things that I work with is the fact that 20 years ago, probably even less than that, we used to in the brand world have brands and sell them to retailers. And that whole dynamic in the marketplace has changed immensely. Now retailers are selling brands. Now retailers are selling agencies. Now retailers are selling not just to shoppers, but they're selling to everybody. And they're selling the power of the amount of people that go online to see them, the eyeballs that they have, or at brick and mortar. So you take a big company like Walmart, who has close to whatever 150 million people walking through their stores every week. Amazon, which is the largest online retailer, and the amount of people that they have running through their online system, as well as their Whole Food stores and other outlets that they have in the marketplace. They're capitalizing on these eyeballs to sell advertising, to sell reach for not only buying products and brands on their sites, but obviously their reach is so big, it's bigger than taking out TV advertising or any other form of advertising. So we've gotten ourselves in this capitalism game into some dilemmas out there on exactly how does one in a small business or a large business, small brands and big brands, how do you spend your money wisely? How do you uh, how do you maximize what it is that you're trying to do? Um, and I think that part of that, which is good for, upstart companies or smaller companies, even like Hotline Entertainment, is that we don't cost that much. And you're going to get the same amount of vigor and knowledge of the retail marketplace as you're going to get anywhere else. And that's why you see a lot of people that are have, like myself, been a force at retail through brands, now leaving companies, whether they're retailers or other big brand companies, and starting up their own businesses to consult and to provide value for these bigger companies, and at a obviously much lower cost than it costs to be in the agency business. Now, I would consider Haaseline Entertainment an agency, but I've been in the big agency businesses, and I'm not here to knock them. I worked for Mars Advertising, and I learned a lot from Ken Barnett and his operation there, which has now been bought out by Publicis. But anyway, that's an amazing piece that's going on in the marketplace, and it's a dynamic shift. So now we've got this monetization at retail, where now the retailer has turned into a huge pocket for all kinds of funds coming in the door, whether again to sell or to sell advertising in space. What's the difference between that and what Donald Trump's trying to do in the United States? He's taking the largest brand, the United States of America, and he's monetizing everything about it. Whether it's the taxes or goods that are being sold here, you're going to pay to play. Well, this might be, and I know anything that the haters of Donald Trump can bring up, they're going to look for anything to hate on. They'll associate this monetization of the United States of America to rich, as our friend billionaires would say. Um, our boy up in Vermont, Bernie Sanders. Thank you. Anyway, look, if you don't like rich people, I got it. If you don't like Donald Trump, I got it. But this is a country built on money. This is what we've been built on, and if we're going to change, so be it. But this is what brought us to the table. Donald now is just trying to get that money back into our coffers to pay down this debt that we've run up on foolishness, on internal things. I'm sure you've read articles on, and it's not, and I'm not here to support Republicans or Democrats. I think they're all evil. And then when you're a when you're a person that gets paid 140,000, $170,000 a year, and your coffers are $21 million, there's something wrong. They're making money somewhere else. I have no problem with people making money, and I have no problem with Donald Trump monetizing the United States of America. But again, everything is shifting in the marketplace. Technology, online selling has changed. And of course, when COVID came and put us in a situation where we were locked up for 2 years, um, that really put a damper on in store, which is kind of the marketplace I came from, which was retailtainment, which was entertainment in store to keep shoppers entertained and keep their dwell time in stores, which always equates into them spending more or looking around at items and brands. So that has been curbed since COVID, and because now the influx of retail media has become this monetization system, and the ability to reach people at a lower cost, in-store marketing has become almost a dinosaur. Now, you won't hear that from the people out there selling retail media. They're gonna they have a new word, which by the way, I was doing 20 plus years ago, and at particularly at Walmart, um, called omni-channel marketing, where you utilize all of your online and all of your in-store and really everything you do in marketing, whether it's on pack, whether it's promotional dollars, everything is tied in together, and you maximize your spend by tying this all together. I mean, that's wonderful and great. And we know that COVID and a gadget-filled world is going to grow that business. Here's my point today that I want to kind of delve into, and we won't get it all done today, is I get all that. And I wish I had all the machines that we have today in order to, QR codes and downloads and all that kind of stuff. That when I was doing retailtainment, when Oreo stacking was the premier retailtainment event in the world, and particularly but from Walmart, who was the king and inventor of retailtainment. When that was all going on, we didn't have all this technology. Now, believe it or not, 20 years ago, I was doing the first online voting for quarterbacks of the century, where Walmart shoppers could go in and vote for their favorite quarterback. And we also utilized in-store media with that back then called PIX, or now PRN, which was the Walmart TV program. We utilized that. We utilized our signage to get shoppers to go online as well as go to the TVs and get additional information. We used OnPack. Were doing omni-channel marketing. We just didn't have a name for it. Now we do. Amazing. But here's the deal. Um, Now when you get to the e-commerce and the retail media market, it's a lot cheaper right now. I use the term right now because they're going to raise the prices on that. And somewhere along the line, I think things will start to even out. But when you go in store and you do a sampling or an event, and you have to have a body in a store with samples, with advertising to go against it, it is a very, very costly operation. Back then, 20 years ago, it was probably costing me a $500,000 to do an event. And that included, if you knew the way Walmart used to market back then, when you couldn't, do what they're doing today, which is totally a traditional marketing style now. You had basically a card table, samples, and some kind of a giveaway that you would give away to everybody that came and visited the table. Again, $500,000 just to do an event. And back then, Walmart had 2,800 stores. Now they've got over 4,200 stores, and so now that cost has gone up. It's no doubt that the people who couldn't pay that off, that they had to move somewhere else. And what it ended up doing for me was it really gave me a retail play tainment platform for the brands that I represented all by myself. I mean, there were other events going on, but I had an event almost every month going on, and was able to harness that money internally from Nabisco Craft or whatever, and the brands that they had, and was able to do those events. And we touched numerous uh, amounts of people going through that store with not only our samples, not only the fun event that they were able to participate in, but we had them online. We had them looking for us on Walmart TV, and we had great success. Now, we had great success because of another reason. It's because as a marketer and as somebody who came up in sales, I realized about a week in or a couple weeks in on a promotion whether I was going to get the payback I needed. And if I didn't see the payback coming, I would go out into the marketplace with some of the executives at Walmart, and I would hustle to make sure those things paid out. We don't live in a world like that anymore, but I can tell you that if you are a marketer, it might be advisable to you to get out and get in the store and actually practice what you're selling and practice what you preach. Because I can tell you that I did that and it paid off. All of the promotions that we did paid off, and that's why Walmart allowed me to keep doing them. But the other companies like Frito-Lay and Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they were all complaining about the cost. So they had to come up with different ways. And of course, today's retail media offering of omni-channel marketing is a much more cost-efficient thing for them to do. Which brings me to the question. So I've been talking to Walmart and I've been talking to a lot of other retailers, and of course, the everything wants to be shifted over to online again because of cost efficiency. The problem is a lot of reason that that's going on is because Amazon, who's done a phenomenal job, if you know their entire operation, they've done a phenomenal job of maximizing, as we just talked about Donald Trump doing, trying to do in monetization for the United States of America, they have done for Amazon. And they've done it through their website, they've done it through IMDb. I mean, if you are a loyal Amazon shopper, you're watching TV, you're following the movie, you're looking at who's in it, what other movies have they been in, and you're connected to Amazon at all times. And they have created a masterful piece online. Well, everybody else, including the big dog, Walmart, wants to copy that and wants to be part of that success. Where I have a little bit of an issue is, and then they'll refuse, and so will their agencies refuse that they've abandoned the brick and mortar. But that is Walmart's strength over Amazon, is their brick and mortar. And they're right now focused on either copycatting or out trumping Amazon at their own game. Here's the problem with that, and I know this just from being working for the number one brand in certain categories, and we'll stay with cookies and crackers. Nabisco was the number one brand in cookies and crackers. We spent an astronomical amount of money in the old advertising, which was mostly TV and print, than our competition. And that forced people down the cookie aisle to go and cracker aisle to buy our product. But everybody in that category, whether you were a guy with one cookie in it, or you were Keebler, or you were Petra's Farm or Sunshine back then, um, they were all benefiting from this amount of money that we were spending. Because it doesn't mean just because I've got you looking for a certain cookie that when you get down the aisle, you're going to buy it or buy my brand. We're getting you in the aisle. Um, Walmart's getting you in the store, and from there it's a crapshoot on where they spend their money. Well, the same thing's going on with Walmart, I think, right now, is that they're spending an awful lot of money to get their online business in par or better than Amazon. And I think they're doing a great job at that. But their strength is brick and mortar, and they have abandoned retailtainment in store. And I can just tell you that from conversations I've had. And of course, I'm not here to argue with anybody in any at the retail level or at the brand level, but they've been sold that bill of goods. And I can tell you that the fear of missing out at retail now, and of course, trying to get past a post-COVID fear of shopping, that's put a marketing side to these retailers to say people don't like to shop because of what happened with COVID. And when they get in, you'll hear oh, it's a soccer mom and she's got to pick up the kids and do this and do that. And they don't have time for any of that. Well, I'm going to agree to disagree on that, because if the retailtainment event is good enough to get their attention, they will participate. And any amount of time that you can get someone in the store to spend more time, and I'm talking brick and mortar, it doesn't matter what it is. If you can get them to spend a little more time in the store, they will spend more money while they're there. And that has been abandoned. And I can tell you, I am going to be talking about that a lot, and I am going to resurrect that retailtainment, old school in store, so that it's at least mixed in properly to call it true omni-channel marketing. We're going to talk a little bit about that in our next show, but also we're going to add a little bit of nostalgia and how that plays. One thing I know that COVID did do on a positive side, that I enjoy, is the nostalgic side of the entertainment business, and how that is becoming a platform in retailtainment and promotional work. People still like to go back and see those nostalgic shows those nostalgic movies because it takes them back to a safe place. It takes them back to a place where they remember a different part of their life that was probably a whole lot better than the confusing world, the technology world that we live in now. We'll save that for another time, but thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something today about retail marketing, what's going on with this monetization. And look, we're $35 trillion in debt as a country. Let one of the greatest marketers I know, and I can talk a little bit, having worked with him, let's let this guy do what he can do to bring our debt down and bring more revenue and more opportunities because that will only create more jobs and more opportunities and more fun for us while we're here in the wonderful United States of America. And as we do that, we will also grow our relationships globally with other countries and other brands and other retailers. It's a win, win, win. So listen, it's the first week of March. Have a wonderful week, and we'll be talking to you as we move down the road. Hotline Entertainment, Revelation of the Spirit. Tell me what you think, and keep on watching, subscribe, and we thank you for everything that you're doing.